Welcome, welcome, welcome to Conversations with Q. I am excited about this third season. We've been having a really, really good year, some amazing conversations, amazing guests throughout this year. And so I am really excited today about our special guest. He was a guest on my Blog Talk Radio some years ago. And so now we're back together again. He's still doing great and amazing things. At that time, we interviewed him about his book that he had just published and put out, The Power of the Seed. And now he got some other books with his name on it, and just doing some amazing things. Dr. Eric Holmes, he is a minister, he's an author, he's a life coach. He's a senior coordinator at Johns Hopkins. So he's always been doing great things. He's very encouraging and a light to our community. And so I really am grateful because there's been nothing but positive interaction that I've ever had with this gentleman. So I am excited to have him on the show again to discuss mental health matters. And just getting his continued insight because, again, we talked, I think it's been almost 10 years since our first interview together. And I know he's grown a lot and matured in his perspectives. And so he definitely has a lot more to share and pour into us in this discussion as we talk about mental health, the importance of healing, and even the spiritual component of good mental health, because it's important that we know that spirituality is actually very significant to the therapeutic process, even in the mental behavioral health field. A lot of times, and especially in addiction recovery, we as therapists still add or integrate the spiritual component because it's just usually an important factor in a person's healing journey. Now, of course, we usually tell people you can define your spiritual journey how you see fit, but at the same time, it is something that is very vital. So I am ready to have this conversation with Dr. Eric Holmes. Welcome.
Hey, welcome, Q. So glad to be here. And she looks absolutely amazing. Plus, we got on the same color orange, but she looks absolutely amazing. And it's just an honor to be here connecting back with you after, 6 years ago, when we did the first radio interview of the book, The Power of the Seed. So just seeing what you have been doing and, what God is doing and shifting and things in your life. And, and I named her Q, y'all. So when y'all hear that, I love it. And so, right. And so I'm just honored and humbled to be here just to share the dialogue, the talk. We just flow, y'all. We're not scripted. We just flow. And so thank you for having me here. And even with several books later, I thank you and I look forward, to the greater things that's going to be transpire out of this.
Yes. So let's talk the importance of healing for you from your perspective, just in your experience and growth as a man. I definitely want to get the male's perspective on the importance of healing, especially in this time and season of the state of our world.
It is really so important. And actually, I just came out of my Johns Hopkins Leadership Academy class. And one of the things was religion, spirituality. We were dealing with diversity and so many different things, inclusion. And so the healing process is so important from the mental, spiritual, the natural aspect, because even as an African-American male in the culture and society we're living in, even after coming through a pandemic, yet it's still in a pandemic. It is so important because it starts with the mind. It is a mindset. And so many times we got to know that it starts in the mind, because even as males, as African-American males, it's a more that we got to fight the more. And when you're broken or where there's a hurt, and if you don't know how to heal or have others to help you heal, you really can't help somebody else, because it'll always be like a glass that is broken, that has never, as they say, could be put back together. And so we have to learn that and be able to go and get that necessary help that we need. Because, you know, in our culture, you know, it was a thing, you know, what stays in the house, what went on in the house, and that's it. We in a society now, you better get some help. I just did this about a couple months ago on a segment dealing with mental health in the African-American culture. Go get the help. It's too much help now that you can get. It's too much available and too many resources. And even as a life coach, you know, I refer you to where you need to go. If it's not me, get the necessary help, because healing, it is from the inside out. And if you don't get healed with the mind, the heart, the soul, you'll never be able to help nobody else, and you'll always be broken. So it is very important to make sure you get healed and get whole.
Yes, yes. And in that, how do we create that balance of that emotional well-being? How do you get that? Well, how did you get your healing? Like, what is your personal experience?
One, you gotta find balance. You gotta take time out. That self-care, the best care, even if it's your spirituality as well. What can you do to just balance, relax? If you worked, or if you work from home, or whatever you're doing, you got to find that balance to make sure you can relax, make sure you take some time out for you. And because we're so busy moving in this society, and, you know, even after being shut down for a year, and now we're about to go back to all of that, even though we've come through it, but yet we actually are not out of it. But that whole mental capacity. What can I do? What relaxes me? What can I do? And this was one of the things in my class just now. How do I see life, or what is the values? And I said appreciation. And here it is, like reading, whether I like to read, or if I like to write, or if you like to watch sports, or if you like to watch TV, or just sitting quiet and light candle. You've got to find a balance so that you're not just going and never address what you need to address. And that's what happens a lot of times, Q, is we don't address the issue. We don't address, it is really like tied right into my class. We don't address it until it's too late, or we don't say anything, and when it keep on going. So now it builds up, and then until we get to a point where it's got to be addressed, because something drastic is going to happen if it's not. And so it is very important to find a balance and walk therein.
Right, because it's sad that we're always waiting until we hit crisis mode to then want to address something that we already knew was present and needing to be addressed a while back, right? And so that balance is really key. I just told a friend yesterday that one of the most challenging parts of a discussion sometimes in my therapy sessions is talking about, encouraging someone to engage in self-care practices. You know, everybody has an excuse. I don't have time. And I tell people, it's 24 hours in a day. You got to be able to be intentional to at least give yourself at least 1 hour just for you, just to take care of you, even if it's just you enjoying the quiet, meditating, journaling, praying, reading a book, exercising, whatever it is. But we got to get out of that space of always making excuses is why we can't take care of ourselves until we hit burnout mode or crisis mode. Then we want to, now I need to do this and do that. And even then, a lot of times it's short-lived. And it's just crazy to me.
And even what happens with that, Q, is it affects your health, your mind, your spirit, your soul, your household, or if you may live with someone, or you married, single, or have kids, or your job, it starts to affect a lot more than you not addressing that issue, because now it starts to become, and it's going, and stuff is building up, and it's not addressed. And so here it is now, when it gets to that crisis mode, now when it gets to something detrimental, whether, it could be a migraine, whether it could be high blood pressure, it leads to so many different other things. And me working in healthcare, it could lead to so many different things. Like they laugh at me at work days, like, we know you go home to take a nap. I am every day. Couldn't do it today because I had to freshen up, change, jump right onto this class, and then right from here to a radio interview. But I know when I come home, you know what I'm saying, and making sure just that nap, a half an hour nap, it just does me well, and so you gotta unwind, but you've got to find that balance. But you've definitely got to make sure that self-care, and you cannot say, I don't have time, because at some point, life or your body will let you know whether you want to or not.
It sure will. You're right. I mean, our bodies will shut down on us in a heartbeat, and we can end up with medical issues that we didn't anticipate, just because that's the alarms that our body is telling us. You're doing too much. You're in burnout mode. You need to get out of survival mode, and so a lot of times it's sad that we have to wait until those very extreme situations to take place in order for us to realize I need to do better about taking care of my health, my mental and emotional well-being, and even my spirit man, because we need to take time to meditate and pray. I tell people, I don't care. I don't see how people can live without a little bit of prayer, at least 5 minutes a day or something. You got to get something in, because it's just hard to navigate through this life for me. Oh God, it just is. I just don't even know how I can stay sane personally without that time, that energy, that feeding. I told people I've had to learn how to get up earlier, to make time. Oh, this is the time it's quiet, the girl's not up, or, time at night before I go to bed. But whatever it is, make time. We can always make time. It's just, we just can never keep just running on fumes, because that's where we're encountering so much violence. A lot of people walk around, end up angry.
Yes.
Not understanding that anger is a sign of other things that's going on internally. Depression, anxiety, fear, worry. It's just, anger is a surface emotion, but there's root emotions underneath anger that's triggering that. And so if you're like in a space where you're just running on fumes and in survival mode, you're not paying attention to those signs, that those little internal alarms that's going on the inside of you. So I want to talk about the importance of in the healing journey, you can find purpose. I had someone that was recently sharing how they were receiving more clarity and becoming more in tune with their identity and becoming stronger in their self-esteem as they started healing. So touch on that as a life coach, when you're working with your clients, or even just encouraging in ministry or even at work, like, how do you help people tap into making that connection between their healing and being come in alignment with their purpose?
One of the things is Q, and I always tell people, it starts with prayer, because it's going to guide you and direct you. The other thing is that in that process of healing, you got to look at it. I always look at things from another perspective and another perception of it. And I see the good that's going to come out of it, yet while I'm in it. And so while I'm in this experience and that healing, because it's a mindset, because it starts with the mind, filters through the heart, and filters through the spirit. So you want to go through that healing, whether it's mentally, emotionally, financially, whatever that is, but you got to identify and recognize that you need healing. Too many times we don't recognize it, or we want to ignore the warning sign. As I said, don't ignore the warning sign and just proceed with caution. You don't ignore it. If I know I need help in this area, or if I know I need healing in this area, get that help I need. Recognize, realize it, and come to grips with it. Like when people go to say NA, but one, you have to recognize I got a problem.
Right.
If I know I have a problem, and I know only God can solve it, but if I never acknowledge, though he knows it all, but I'm to come to him. Right. If I know I need therapy, and I know Q is a therapist, and I know I can talk and share, but I've got to acknowledge I got a problem. I got to acknowledge I need help. And so when you come to that, and then that's when that healing process, because one, you've acknowledged it. One, you come to terms that I need help. I've got a problem. I need to be healed, whatever area of healing that it is. And so now I can start that journey. But see, in that journey, it's going to help me to understand I was overlooking some things that was right here. I was knowing that I could get what I needed. And so now when I'm going through this, things are being revealed to me. You know what? I never knew I was this strong. I never, so many different things can, and even out of that comes a purpose. You
Right.
can tap into, what am I really here to do? And I told someone, everybody has purpose. I just taught a class on that, but yet and still I'll go back to when I told them of wilderness experience about 3 years ago, yet I had to go through the process in between the wilderness and the promise. Yet God gives me revelation and says, don't compromise your promises, settle for less. It's worth the wait. And so, but as he was sharing, to say that I'm going to show you how to navigate through the wilderness and get to the promise. Now, the promise is still good. It's on the other side. But in that experience, I found more of my purpose. I found that, I'm to do this coaching. I found out that, I was writing more books. I found out that I tapped into something had I not gone through the experience, but yet in that experience and in that wilderness experience, he was giving me revelation of something had I not gone through, I would have never acknowledged, I would have never experienced. And so when I came out of it, I was so much better. Or as Marvin Sapp was saying, I was so much wiser, so much better, and so much stronger, even in the faith, even in my relationship with him. But then you learn yourself. Here's self-examination. To thy own self be true. Let a man examine himself. And so examining all of that, what did I take away? What did I apply? But what did I learn in it?
Right.
So I learned a lot in it. And so now, even one of the experience was, it was an old boss that just started out good, turned out just woo. And so here it is. I had to forgive even in the situation of even how they handled me, even when my father died or when my stepbrother passed. And it was so, but yet he wakes me up at 3 a.m. to pray for somebody that just mishandled me, that done me wrong. And so he said, but you still got to do right, even when they do wrong. So here's the thing, that healing, because even in praying for them, her family, releasing it and letting it go, guess what? It was so much on the other side of that experience, because I could have allowed things to be held up because I'm harboring this unforgiveness. I'm holding on to what they did. And so now I'm in this wilderness, but yet when I obeyed what he said, guess what? It was so much more on the other side. I was writing books in the midst of the wilderness. Not only that, I was able to share that experience that helped somebody else. And guess what, Q? It ain't even for us most of the time. It's for somebody else.
Exactly. Look, I had to learn. Look, my pain definitely turned into my purpose. Because the reality is, even in my upbringing, a lot of the experiences that I had, the way my parents raised me, they were trying to shield me from certain experiences to make sure I never encountered some of those experiences. But I had to go through them because I needed to be positioned to be more relatable. And be able to develop a stronger level of compassion and empathy for those who go through similar situations. So while I didn't like what I was going through or some of the experiences I had, and some of them I may not even be proud of, but the reality is I knew at some point it was birthing purpose out of me, and I love what you said about forgiveness. It's even in my book. Forgiveness is one of the steps to healing. It's very clear that in your healing journey, you're not going to have to exercise forgiveness. You're going to have to forgive others. So in some cases, you may have to forgive yourself. But whatever it may be, and for some of us, it's both.
Yes.
But whatever it is, forgiveness is a very key component in the healing journey, because we are normally harboring some level of bitterness, resentment, anger, or something towards another person or a situation that is fueling that negative energy, that's fueling that brokenness. And so, look, forgiveness is key. It is key. It is key because I tell people, we already know forgiveness is not for the other person. It's not to permit the wrong. It's not to justify the wrong. It is to release yourself from that emotional weight. It's to free yourself emotionally so that you can move on and progress and move on into purpose. And so for when it comes to purpose, what would you identify as, or how do you explain to people what is purpose and how do they tap into knowing in addition to prayer?
It is so amazing because I literally just did a session on purpose,
Okay.
one with the coaches
Mhm.
for Life Coach School of Arkansas, but then also with Black Speakers Network. And then I had to do a presentation at the Cary Business School, which I just graduated from. And it was dealing with, one of the things is we're all born with a purpose. You just got to be able to define it, to understand it, to be able to walk in it, yet now being able to fulfill it. And it's just something that's in you. And once you realize what it is, it's something I've been called to do. And once I tap into that cue, now here it is when I can understand it, now when I can define it, and then now I'm walking in it, yet I'll be able to fulfill it. Because if you don't do none of the steps above, you'll never be able to walk in it, or let alone be able to fulfill it. And so we were all destined, like you were destined to be a therapist and, you know, to do radio and to do blog talk and all of those type of things that you're doing. And because you tapped into it, you were able to define it. But it's a passion. It's something I tell people. I send the email, and at the bottom of the email to about 50 employees, I said, let your passion push you to purpose that will connect with destiny. And so that which is in me, that which is birthed in me, that passion, that purpose that's already in me. And once I tap into it, now I'm able, once I realize I've tapped into it, and I could be able to define it, so I could be able to walk in it, and then I'll be able to fulfill it, because we were all born with a purpose, something I've been called to do. We just got to find what it is. And then if you don't, you need somebody that can help pull what's in you out of you. And I always use this analogy with Mary and Elizabeth, who can make the baby leap. When they got together, those babies leaped in the womb. And so here it is, who is in my circle that can pull what's in me out of me when I'm trying to find it and I don't know how to get it?
Right. Because at the end of the day, one of the things I try to, help guide people in identifying what their purpose. What are you most passionate about? What is something that every time you hear anything related to that subject matter, or you see it, or you have an encounter, and it just triggers like this happy emotion, that this level of excitement and energy that you just get, even if you're tired and worn out. But when you encounter that thing, like I said, it just leaps, something just leaps inside of you and gets you all excited about. And so I tell people at that point, it's aligning with what are your passions, something to the point where even you don't even care about making money off of it in that moment. You just want to do it. You just want to fulfill it. Now, I tell people at some point you can eventually birth your purpose and passion into something that will be, a provisional aspect of your life. But in the beginning, it's just identifying what just makes you excited. You get up, if you're an artist and you just love to paint, you know what I mean? I know one lady, she's a school teacher by day, but she just loves to paint. She loves to do art. And so when she goes home, that's her outlet. That's her, and so now she's moving into a space where she's able to start birthing that into something that she can do more publicly, right? And sharing her art with the public. But it's just, for a long time, she just was okay with going home and just sitting down in front of her, canvas, and just being creative, because it just made her feel good. And so I think it's important that, we as coaches, therapists, minister leaders, whatever, when we're in a capacity to counsel, we need to encourage people. One of the benefits of wholeness is aligning with your purpose, so that you can add more meaning to your life. Right?
Absolutely.
So, okay. So what would you say are the benefits of spirituality connected with strengthening your mental health?
One, when you're connected to him, that strength, that faith, when you have a relationship, and that spirituality, it will help you, because no matter where you find yourself, whether storm, circumstance, wilderness, good, bad, or indifferent, it makes a difference because of the strength, the foundation, and because of the relationship, and even because of prayer, the word, and whatever your spirituality is, it's going to help you. And no matter what it always allows you to tap into it to get the strength you need, to get the courage, the boldness, whatever you need, and that capacity, it's going to help you, because once I tap into it, now I can feel my help. As the saints say, I feel my help and I feel my strength. And so no matter where I find myself, I know I'm victorious, because it's going to help me and to stay focused that no matter what, I still got victory. No matter what, I'm still a winner. No matter what, I might have been down, but I'm not going to stay down. No matter what, if I pray, he's going to send me the strength. And I said this earlier to somebody, he's going to give me the strength while I wait. And so now I'm looking at it from a faith perspective. I'm looking at it from another perspective. I'm looking at it through the eyes of faith. And once I've tapped into it, I can wait a little bit longer. I can be strengthened a little bit longer. I know there's strength in while I wait. And I know I'm coming out on the other side.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I want to give you a chance to share a little bit about, I know you got some works coming out as far as your books. I know you co-authored a book. Tell us a little bit about what's coming down the pipeline for you.
Well, actually, of course, always is definitely, I love it. The Power of the Seed, because that's just, but then I just released, my next season is due season. I co-authored Soulful Prayer Volume 1, Soulful Prayer Volume 2, Soulful Affirmations, and we have a new book that I co-authored, Leaders Embracing New Direction. So I'm really excited about that, because they all are powerful. And I don't say they're just books, they're divine assignments, because they were God inspired. And so from the beginning of the first book, all of these are God inspired. And so I love it because it's touching the city, it's touching a nation, it's touching the community, it's touching the world, it's touching right where people are. And so the thing about it is that when it's God inspired and you operate in the timing and season of God,
right,
it's effective. And that's why I tell people, operate in the timing and season of God, because it's more effective. And at the time of the release, it's right where it needs to be. And so I'm super excited. And just as with the one I just released, my next season is due season. Let me back up. The Power of the Seed won last year for the 2020 Reader's Choice Award for TCK Publishing. And so my next season is due season. It's been nominated for the 2021 Reader's Choice Award for TCK Publishing. They are both down in all the libraries, so I'm super excited about that. They're in all the libraries: Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Westminster, Carroll County Library, also in Dauphin County in PA, in Australia. So it's like really, God has really blessed. And so that's more, that it reaches more people. And one of the questions was to me, well, are you getting paid? I said, you missed the whole picture.
Right.
Most people's books are not in libraries.
Right.
And the thing is, it's reaching, even if I'm not, it's reaching somebody. And so we look at things, and it's not always about money, but it's about where it's going. It's about the effectiveness. It's about reaching a soul. It's about making an impact and making a difference. Some things money just can't buy.
Right. Because you know what? That's the integrity of things, of our purpose. We have to understand, why are we doing this in the first place? Right? Because your purpose is supposed to really serve others. No matter whatever your purpose is, whatever your passion is, it's still supposed to serve others. So it's not supposed to be fixated on the income. But here's the thing, our gifts will make room for us.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, provision will still be there.
Yes.
You do the right thing, if you do things with integrity. I've done a lot for for free, but God has rewarded that. He's rewarded those efforts. And so even now, like now, I'm not getting paid to do this podcast, and neither are the people who are joining me, but there's still a benefit to us having these conversations, being a light to others, making an impact. And guess what? The provision will be made regardless.
And not only that, Q, when you do it with the right reason and the right heart, God honors that. And so it can take us further than money can, because see, the favor of God is better than money in the bank. It will take you where people with money can. But see, here's the thing. It can heal somebody that money can't. You may have good money, good insurance, and I work at the largest institution. But guess what? If he don't do it, it won't be done. And see, he can send a word that somebody might be on the edge. You may have all the money, and there's quite a few of these CEOs that committed suicide with all this money during this pandemic. However, this here can heal somebody, because sometimes all they need is a word. All they need is that they have hope. All they need is like, you know what? You're going to make it through this. So here's the thing. He'll make provision. Your gift will make room. He'll provide. He'll be that provision, but you don't know where he's taking you from in the future with it.
Right. Right. Because I know even with social media, there are times I post stuff. I may get only 2 likes, but guess what? Sometimes out of those 2 likes, someone always lets it be known that was a word of encouragement they needed that day in that moment. And for me, that one reach, that one touch was more than just getting a whole bunch of 1,000 likes from people who probably didn't even really read the post, didn't understand it, didn't comprehend it, didn't make an impact. But I tell people, you never know what you do. Even something as simple as a smile or a kind word can save somebody's life, because somebody really could be on the edge of taking their life, or, just crumbling, having a nervous breakdown or whatever. So you just never know what you do, and with right intentions and good intentions, how it could really impact another person.
It will. Now, I'll say this. I was in class the last 2 days for one of my other courses, conflict management and conflict resolution, developing coaching. And one of the ladies said, "Oh my God, Eric." I said, wow, like they were like off mute. Oh my God, about 10 years ago, we worked in our emergency room together. She said, "Oh my God, you are the only one that really helped me and made me feel welcome." Oh my God. I said, now you're getting ready to make me in tears. That was over 10 years ago. She still works at the institution. Had not seen her since then, since the ER. She's in a class with me. Wow. We're going for coffee tomorrow. But here's the thing. Look at how that man that really like touched me. In all these classes of diversified people, leaders and director, different back, all of this in a class for her 10 years later to say that. Yeah. You look, that money can't buy that.
No, that's priceless. That's priceless. Because you don't know what that moment, what it pulled her out of, that could have kept her from even still being here 10 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm glad that we were able to sit and have this talk. We'll definitely have more conversations. I'm excited. I am loving the conversations that we're having about mental health matters and the importance of really tearing away at the stigmas of mental health. We got to get out of these stigmas of, you hear the word mental health, you only think psychotic or crazy. Yes, those disorders really do exist. I've seen it firsthand, but that's not the case for all of us. It's literally just us learning how to take better care of our mind and our emotional well-being, being able to normalize therapy,
mind, body, and spirit,
healing, and not just for ourselves, but we have to influence our younger generations. Now, unfortunately, though, the younger generations already hit and tapped into the importance of mental health. I think they're probably the reasons why it's starting to become more popular. But even in that, we still have to be an example.
Yes.
We have to start normalizing, men feeling comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings. It's important because it affects all of us. My daughter, a teenager, was just telling me, she was like, "I wish boys would do better about expressing their feelings." And I said, yeah, but unfortunately, they're taught to suppress them. So it does cause a break in functional relationships, right? How do I communicate effectively my needs and my desires, but I'm told not to say anything?
Right.
So we gotta start normalizing giving men a safer space to be able to open up and talk and share. Because guess what? Men have something to say. It really is some good stuff.
Yes.
So we gotta start normalizing this and encouraging, having conversations and talking and expressing and not judging or condemning when someone expresses their feelings and their emotions and their thoughts about something. So I am glad that you were here, Dr. Eric Holmes from Baltimore, Maryland. Anybody that knows me, DMV is my second home. I grew up from Detroit, but Maryland is my second home. And so I am really, really glad that you were able to join me. And this is our little reunion. And we didn't in the color coordination, but we was on the same page. So we were there. We were there on the same page.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful for you. I thank you. Please look him up to get his books. He's an amazing author, speaker, mentor, coach, whatever it is. He's definitely an encourager. He shared a word on Facebook today. I watched it earlier. It was so good. Just some words of encouragement. So definitely follow him on Facebook. Yeah. And do you have a website that you want to share?
Actually, I'm getting a new one. I have a link that links to everything, but I'm all on IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. So all of the social media, and they can just contact me.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, Q, it was so amazing. And again, thank you for this opportunity. I thank God for the divine connection. I told people this is a season I'm in, it's divine connections, that we were connected, but God, how God has a way of doing what he does. And so the thing about it is that it still goes back. I will always never forget, you were the first one to interview me with the power of the seed. And as far as I go, you will always be a part of that journey. Always will be blessed when I get to my wealth. But I appreciate it because, as my mom would say, never forget those that helped you on your journey, or never, forget the bridge that brought you over. And so the thing about it is that it was a blessing, and it started the journey of the interviews with the power of the seed, which has been blessed. It has been amazing. I have a workbook to it, a worksheet to it, and I do a power of the seed master class. And so when the libraries and stuff are really kind of opening back up, because I was doing like book signings and workshops there, but it started a journey. So I truly thank God for you and the opportunity to even share on that show. So thank you. Continue to soar like the eagle that goes through the storm, yet it rises above them. Continue to be who you are. Continue to walk in the season and favor of God, and continue to just be who you are, walk in your purpose and what he's called you to do. And you're doing a lot of great things. And just realize the favor of God is better than money in the bank, because it will take you where people money can't. It'll get you what you need, because if you seek ye first the kingdom, he already declared all the other things would be added. Tithe, seed, and sow. You got a harvest coming. So thank you, Q.
Thank you. I'll receive that word. I appreciate you. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Continue to keep up with Conversations with Q. And of course, you guys know I'll always update you when an episode is dropped. And thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Share with your family and friends, colleagues, neighbors, whatever, to let them, just hear this content, because we're definitely having some meaningful conversations about mental health matters and how it touches and affects all areas of our lives. So until next time, talk to you soon. Bye.